I'll go ahead and start with black guys and white girls. So from what I've seen or heard, apparently most black guys get with black women, but you'll also see that black men are the highest demographic to engage in interracial dating. And I surmise that the reason for that is because every other woman outside of his own race automatically appears more feminine, or at least seems more feminine due to media portrayal. My preference, for one, is to avoid dark skinned black women, who are basically women, fully black women who are brown skin or darker. And for me, a lot of that inspiration is based on media portrayal, yes, but also based on real life experiences. So I live in the hood, and you could basically say I'm from the hood, but I drive to a richer suburban area, and in both cases I see this combination everywhere. Like a few days ago, maybe the 14th, I was driving past one of those strip malls where it got a bunch of abandoned empty places and one Chinese buffet left, and there was a buff black guy walking in, and just like a white girl behind him, Italian or something, with like jet black hair. And then just a few minutes later, I turned left and drove past the International Market. If you're from the hood, you know about that, those international markets. And I drove somewhere situated around there. And then when I left, I saw one tall black guy with dreads who was walking out. Nerdy guy. He had like some anime Avatar shirt. It said Zuko on the back, and he had like a little Indian joint, like a South Asian type of John, next to him. So I see it like 3-4 times a day, and like I've lost count at this point. But it's like, as far as black women dating outside of their race, for example, I might see that once or twice a month, or like handful of times a year. Like it would not be enough for me to keep count of. Or like Asian guys dating outside their race, it would not be a significant portion that I would consider statistically notable. And I'm recording this on the 17th, but yesterday I saw actually 2 days ago, I saw one, like maybe a somewhat older couple, I guess you could say, probably in their 50s, black man, white woman, walking up to a restaurant. And when I drove up to that restaurant, this is only a few seconds later, a matter of seconds, I drove past it and I saw another black guy walking out, younger, like buff black guy, maybe in his mid or early 30s, a bunch of like white people around him, and there was like one blonde woman who was like closer to him, so I guess they were together. And yesterday I saw a couple walking outside. It was like an older black guy in his 40s maybe, and then it was a white woman who was like on the chubbier side and had like very fair skin and dark hair, but that wagon was massive. So I was like, yeah, that's the big OG. That's big OG to me. So the amount of times I see this interracial combination in 1 week is like more than every other interracial combination for the entire year. And like every time I see it, I just say to myself, or even sometimes out loud, you love to see it. You love to see it. Again, white guys and Asian girls, super common, but it's about the location. And in a later video, I'm going to talk about the amount of cap that I've been seeing, basically lying. A lot of like the more nerdy black guys will act like, oh, black women didn't want me, so I guess I had to go for women who wanted me. And the women I went for just so happened to not be black. Like, listen, don't lie. You made an active decision to go for other groups of women. And to me, there's nothing wrong with that. But you black guys who looked for women outside of your race but don't want to say it openly because you felt like some people would see it as unfavorable, whereas I'm willing to be honest about it, despite some people seeing it as a bad thing, because I legitimately think there's no problem with it. But I'll go into that in a later video. I'm not concerned how people take it, because I already told you I'm a bad person. So, well, like, by the way, why would I want these hypocrites to see me as a hero? Like that's why I'm making this video right now, right? These people who are sitting on the sidelines screaming and preaching about this, and this, these things don't make the world exponentially better, whether you date in or outside. But I digress. There's also an aspect of women who are not black treating black guys better, or putting more effort into black guys, or just black guys being more okay with flings than black women are, which could turn into more sustainable relationships. But let's not ignore the fact that more women will find a black guy attractive than non-black men who find black women attractive. Generally speaking, because before you guys say anything, I know there are black women who get lots of attention outside of their race, and Asian guys outside of their race. And there are a lot of white girls. There are some white girls, and there are probably a decent amount of black guys who don't get a lot of attention outside of their race or at all. Now, for white guys and Asian girls, you notice how I put black guys and white girls across from each other. I also did the same for white guys and Asian girls. Don't got to talk too much about this. I feel like there's a lot of hard wiring with these two interracial pairings. Like some of it is hard wiring and some of it is culture, like historical. I already made a video talking about white guys and Asian girls. But can we just look at how strategic I was when I designed this? Because I put boy, girl, boy, girl, boy, girl. Now, I left out Latinas, Indian, South Asian, but you get the idea. Just with these three is like the most simplest, a good even way to divvy it out. And you'll see that black women and Asian men are situated directly across from each other. And you might be asking, why is that? They are actually an exception. The rules that I applied previously don't apply to them. Usually black women and Asian men are in no man's land as far as interracial dating, at least in heterosexual relationships, which is the focus for today's video. A black woman is usually with the black man to the left, at least from our vantage point, our left. But if she does go outside of her race, it'll typically be the white guy next to her on the other side. And the Asian man is usually with Asian women, but if he goes immediately outside of his race, though, it'll usually be a white woman on the other side, however uncommon that may be. So it's not actually that they date each other, the black woman and the Asian man, but it's actually, they actually don't encounter each other most of the time. But the fact is, it's usually the partner next to them.